Hey everybody, and welcome back to Fresh Set. I'm Sabrina,
And I'm Kevin.
and we are here with our
Final.
finale,
Our season
final.
finale, yeah,
This is
basically.
the season finale. And we, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're not, we are in Christmas hats. Well, I'm in a Santa hat, and Kevin is an elf.
If you happen to
Okay.
hear that as we go through,
Yeah,
it's the bells on my hat.
that is his elf hat. Um, And obviously this is just very close to Christmas, so we thought, why not dress up
Yeah.
for the last episode? And so we've got a couple of things we're going to go over. We have like a bit of a fun little piece at the end, so stick around for that.
Yeah.
But obviously there's still business to take care of, and it's been a week of news.
Yeah.
Unexpected expected news, but there's a lot has unfolded since then.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, and as we ended last week, I mean, we said it last week, we were waiting to hear on what the Red Bull news is going to be. We know that
Mhm.
we all but confirmed that Checo
Yeah.
was going to be out.
Yeah.
And it was more so who's taking over that seat.
Right. And we now know,
We do.
well, before we get into, we know who it is, everybody knows who it is, but there was the testing that Yuki did in the
Yeah,
Red Bull.
he did the Pirelli testing.
Lawson also got into
He did the
the
Pirelli.
red.
He did the Pirelli testing.
Yeah.
For no, he did the Pirelli testing. Excuse me, for RB.
Yeah.
Some other rookie did the rookie testing for them.
Yeah.
And then Isaac Hadjar did the
Yeah.
rookie testing for Red Bull.
Yeah. So, comments from Yuki, he felt he did really well, and he said that everybody seemed impressed. He said he knows that Liam's times were also really good and that he was fast, but they seem impressed with him, and meaning Yuki. Very confident, which, I mean, he also knows the team. He knows
Yeah.
the car a little bit more than...
I'm sure he's done sim work in it.
Yeah,
and
exactly. And yeah, it kind of seemed like they had him all fitted out in the Red Bull. It kind of all but seemed it would be Yuki, and and it's not.
It's not. No, we find out that Lawson had put a post up. Actually, it'd come out probably 2 days before the announcement that Perez was out. Perez was out on, I believe it was the Thursday-ish.
Maybe even
Or Wednesday, maybe
Yeah.
Wednesday. It technically leaked because Telmex, who is one of the sponsors that Perez brings over, had kind of put up a post that seemed like a farewell.
Yeah.
So it was kind of already spoiled before it happened. But he was let go for reportedly 13 million euros. Not a bad sit out next year. Which, I mean, he can still drive for somebody else.
Yeah.
But unless he's got some kind of
A non-compete, but
yeah, or whatever. But yeah,
really.
so he's out. And then we find out a day or two later. I want to say it's Friday.
Yeah, it was a couple days later.
Yeah,
or a day and a half, whatever.
Yeah, it was Friday. I think I remember waking up for work and I sent it to you at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
That Liam Lawson is announced as Red Bull's new driver, which they already had him in the suit, putting on, like, zipping it up and all that stuff. I'm like, so they obviously were getting him ready on Thursday and doing all this promo stuff. And
Yeah.
passing over Yuki Tsunoda again.
Yeah.
Before we get into our thoughts on that, you you just were frustrated with Horner's response that you didn't even finish reading it. You kind of just
I didn't finish reading it. I mean, okay, there's one thing that I will say. I think Red Bull has been the only team this year that has handled, and this is going to sound groundbreaking, but that they were the only team that handled the firing and the hiring on social media well. every other team has fired in one post and then 3 minutes later posted the person coming in.
Yeah,
Where
they've
Red
kind of
Bull
let the
at least
dust
waited.
settle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I think because we all knew it was happening, they were like, "It's
yeah.
already settled," but they did wait, which I thought was kind of respectful
Well, yeah, they
a
kind of
little
gave it
bit.
to yeah, they gave it to Checo. Say here, we're gonna this is it, or thanks and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and
They
gave
did
him the
numerous
opportunity to kind of
posts.
respond. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
There was
and then
numerous posts, all the drivers, made their posts to him, and then they announced,
yeah, yeah.
Liam, which, yeah, I saw
So
Christian
there's a
made some comments.
there's a couple of comments that he made, and he
Yeah.
had done some interviews with like Sky Sports, with other outlets. But the first thing he said was, with Liam, when you go into the analytics of the race, his pace was slightly better, which I don't believe is complete. I don't have the analytics in front of me, but it sounds like a bunch of shit. Bullshit. When you go look over if your pace is better in the season, but your results at the end of the day, and I had it somewhere. I don't think I have it saved. But your results against your teammate are obviously better. I mean, Williams only been in 11 races, and Yuki has had the better stats over the races. Maybe he's looked impressive at times, a little more.
Yeah.
Um, but the stats have favored Yuki. But anyways, his qualifying pace was very tight with Yuki. But you've got to assume that with Liam having only done 11 Grand Prix, his potential is to grow is immense. I mean, we've seen some good things out of Liam. We've seen some not great things out of Liam so far.
Mhm.
I mean, I think they've been pretty equal. We've seen his attitude change, struggle, his lack of respect for veteran drivers, has struggled. His willingness to put blame first, of others, sorry, first
Yeah.
instead of himself,
Yeah.
has been there as well. So I think he does have a lot of growing. I think Christian's right. I don't
Mhm.
necessarily relate it to what he's capable of, but they probably see things more. Either way, he goes on to say he's shown real mental resilience and toughness. Toughness, maybe. Resilience, maybe not. We've had juniors struggle in the past, but which might be a dig at Yuki, because they've promoted every other junior that they've had,
Yeah.
to their Red Bull seat. But Liam's shown he's different. He's versatile, tough, and has that kind of grit we need to complement Max. I see a problem with that last line.
Mhm.
He's versatile, tough, and has that kind of grit we need to complement Max. I think it's going to piss Max off. I mean, I think
It's
Max is going to destroy him.
absolutely.
I don't think there's any doubt in that. I
Yeah.
think I think he's going to piss off Max more than Yuki would have.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just going to cause a rift in that garage.
Yeah. It's exactly what I foresee happening. I think it's going to go back to an era of Red Bull that they probably want to forget. They have, which, I mean, we know it was not totally manufactured, but you have, the Ricardo versus Verstappen. We have Verstappen and Vettel. Like, there's these Mark Webber, and who was Mark Webber against?
Vettel.
Vettel, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Kvyat.
Yeah, yeah.
We
And then
have,
you've had Gasly come up against and Albon both come up
yeah,
against Max.
yeah, and I mean, those two didn't necessarily fight him too much or create team drama. They just weren't necessarily the greatest in the car, where I think Liam might come in with the team drama, which
Yeah.
they do not need that right
No.
now. I mean, listen, it's good for him. In 11 races, he's showed them something, but do I think there's a lot of pressure on him?
He is
And
also the shortest to be promoted up from the
mhm,
junior team up 11, only 11 races. I think Ricardo, I believe, was the quickest before that, or is it Verstappen at 19 races? I can't remember exactly, but that's the closest one. So basically a full season at that point.
yeah,
Liam hasn't even had a full season. This is over 2 seasons. Is it? Yes.
yeah,
Because he raced last year. Christian did also go on. Maybe it was this interview. Maybe it was a different interview. Which, in one post you're praising Liam, and in
mhm,
another one you're really just cutting Yuki off the knees, and he can't take that. He's small enough. Um, He says you can't have a driver in the support team for 5 years. You can't always be the bridesmaid. Just a terrible way to put that. You've got to let them go at that point or look at something different. To say that and say you can't be in the support team for 5 years, I mean, you've passed him up
Like,
multiple
you
times.
have
You
had him.
you brought in Daniel Ricciardo in hopes that Daniel Ricciardo would take that seat. You weren't
Yeah.
even looking at Yuki at that point.
No.
You were looking at Yuki to anchor this RB team,
And that was
which
public information
yeah,
that you were saying that.
yeah.
Like,
Uh, I mean, to me, this is definitely Yuki's. That's it. 2025 is Yuki's last year. Yuki's going to find another team in
yeah.
2026.
Yeah. He has to. I think other teams are, I think it might actually be good for Yuki. I think other teams
Yeah.
are going to look at him and be
I think
like,
he
needs to leave.
Yeah.
He needs to have a very, it kind of works out where this actually happened for Yuki. It's come out before the end of the year. He's got 3 months to get over it. I mean, he's
Yeah.
not going to get over it, but
No.
he's got 3 months to get over it, work on everything he needs to do. He needs to sim race all 3 months in that Red Bull at home. He could be in the Red Bull.
I don't even think
and
it's going to matter.
just,
I think,
but
especially
just
now, because we
the-
did see now that they've all already, after the Lawson post, the next
yeah,
day it was Isaac Hadjar has taken the seat at V Carb, and it's all
yeah,
about how highly touted Hadjar is
yeah.
coming up out of Formula 2.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying he should be in doing the sim in the Red Bull, not for Red Bull to see him, for everybody else to see his
Oh, I see what
stats.
you mean. Yeah.
Like, he needs the Aston Martins, who's getting Honda. He needs the bigger teams, which kind of are set in stone, but still, even an Alpine,
Yeah.
even like we see Alpine moving up, he needs to get out. He needs to get out of that seat. Cadillac.
He will.
coming
It
in.
could be Cadillac. It could be Williams if Sainz goes somewhere else. It's not going to be. I mean, how much worse can it get if you're in the V Carb now?
Yeah.
So, but it's just a sad situation.
Yeah. And again, I think good for Liam, but I think
I think he's
it-
undeserving.
I don't think he's deserving of it either.
No.
And I mean, 2019, I mean, we saw Albon and Gasly both go into the Red Bull and both fail in the Red Bull.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not the same thing, but I mean, is Red Bull not wanting to have two rookies? And I mean, for all intents and purposes, Liam is still a rookie. He hasn't done a full season, so I would consider that a rookie.
Yeah.
Do they want two rookies in racing bulls? Maybe not.
But that's the whole point of the problem. I mean, they did it
Right.
before. They did it
Yeah.
with Sainz and Verstappen.
Yeah, they've done it.
That's the
So-
whole point of that. You're prepping your teammate or your racers to do that, then to move up to that, or at least fight for that position.
Yeah.
Just giving that to Lost. And I mean, if what you're looking at and the reason why Perez is gone is because he was not contributing the way he should have been contributing to the championship, you're not winning that championship with Lawson. I don't see it.
No.
If you're not going up against Hamilton and Leclerc, Piastri and Norris, Russell, who knows about Antonelli, but
Mm-hmm.
the Mercedes looks good. It's possible. I would say that they have a better chance than Mercedes, but you're not beating McLaren and Ferrari.
No. And I don't know if he's necessary. I don't know if we've seen enough to say he's the right driver to do that, where we have seen it with Yuki. We've seen Yuki in really good battles with his teammates, with other drivers, and he's figured his shit out, which they asked him to go to anger management. They've asked him to do all these things.
And I would argue that
still...
Yuki's driven better than Checo this year in a far less competitive car.
Mm-hmm.
And he's driven better than Lawson in the 11 races that Lawson's been there.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 or 2 races, maybe not. But overall, over the course of his time here, he's better.
Yeah.
He's been better.
And I kind of think having Yuki do, because Liam was actually on another podcast. I don't know if it was post
I
the training
I believe it
or
was.
the testing.
Oh, I see what you mean. Testing.
I don't know if it was post testing
It was
because
very short because that's the one where he also talked about the dinner.
yes, he talks about the dinner. He talks
So
about telling it. He called his dad.
yeah.
So he knew
Oh, he knew.
when he did that
I
interview,
think
which again I don't know
well, testing
timing
was the
wise.
day after the Grand Prix, so
Yeah,
it had to be post finding. I'm pretty sure he found out after testing,
yeah,
like the day after.
yeah. They called
Yeah,
him, but
yeah.
anyways, Red Bull not listening to us, anyways. So,
No, no, no.
but yeah,
Which you know what? Since we'll stay on Red Bull, and we'll talk about them not listening to us, and probably why they should. Um, it was today. I believe it was today. Honda did put out a post for Checo, thanking him, or it was in the last couple of days, whatever it was,
mhm,
thanking him for his time there. Obviously, Honda, a big part of Red Bull. Just thanking him for everything and all the work that he put in and all that stuff, and a nice, heartfelt message. But they used a picture. There was a picture of a Red Bull car with the Honda Kuji. Which one get that right? Koji, sorry, Watanabe, who is their, I don't know if it's a racing director or something like that, the head of racing division or whatever. Either way, he's high up there at Honda. Beside Max is beside Checo, and Checo is beside Horner. They're all standing with the car. This might have been earlier on in the year, car reveal,
yeah,
whatever it was. But in this post, they've deliberately cut out Horner, who's next to Checo, and just I mean, does that speak to
yes, yes.
I don't know, especially with Honda. I don't know if they're with Honda leaving Red Bull. It might be you're one of the reasons why we're leaving Red Bull, so we don't want you there, or is it we know that your time is coming to an end? We're just going to. I don't know. I have a feeling something's going on with Horner. I have a feeling that he's got maybe a year left.
I think
If
as soon as Max is gone, he's gone, if not before.
if this if this first year without Nui, like if they happen to drop down and that gap to Mercedes is a lot closer, I think he's gone.
Possibly,
I just have a feel. I don't
possibly.
know. I-
I mean, I just going back to the Honda picture. I think that is it's very deliberate.
yeah, oh yeah.
There's no reason to cut him out of that.
Well, because their
Um,
social media posts are the one who requires vetting on everything
yeah,
has either been told to cut him out
yeah,
or asked to use that picture, and they said, "Yeah, sure, just cut him out."
yeah. And I mean, it's it's almost like they even if they cropped the picture, they still had to edit him out.
Well, they could
Like
have cropped it
he's
with him in it.
close.
Like, he's a very small part of it. Yeah,
Yeah, like he's still close enough that they still had to edit the
he
photo
is
of him out.
right next to Checo.
Yeah.
Like, they are touching,
Yeah.
and it's yeah, it
So even just cropping is not gonna do it. So,
yeah, especially
um,
with like, I mean, the Japanese culture is a very respectful one, rooted
mhm,
in respect.
yeah,
You know, everything they do has to do with whether it's business or relationships or whatever.
mhm,
Respect comes first at all times.
yeah,
So to do this very
respectful.
disrespectful thing, not necessarily that they're intentionally being disrespectful, but that
Yeah,
maybe Horner has lost their respect.
yeah. They felt disrespected, and they
Yes.
feel for
Yes.
Yuki, which again he should have been the next one in line if that's what your team is for.
Yeah.
Um, and they've always been a big Yuki supporter as well. He's been a very big supporter of Honda.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a Japanese driver, so it makes sense. But yeah, it was kind of funny, but kind of like you said, what does this
Yeah.
mean? What are they pointing at? Are they just they know that this is this is his fault, or
Yeah.
if we want to call it fault.
Or they're
uh,
just inadvertently blaming him for it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can move on. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not move on from Red Bull. We'll stick on the Red Bull thing. I know you want to get into something, but because it's so close. I don't want to have to go back and forth between Red Bull because then it's just like I'm a Red Bull fanboy. I just want to get it over with. Because we'll get into it a bit. It had come out from Eddie Jordan, former racer, former team owner, who has a podcast with Coulthard, that he says that he knows, strong words to use. He knows, and I can hear this jingling in my ear. It's bothering the hell out of me. That Max had influenced Christian not to sign Carlos Sainz.
I mean, he
And
knows.
he says he knows, and how he knows, we don't know.
Yeah.
But that obviously is very telling of why it took so long for Sainz to sign anywhere, especially if he thought he was close with McLaren, Mercedes, but then Red Bull, or maybe he was waiting for something there. I mean, it makes sense. It's not the first time we're going to see number one, quote unquote, drivers vetoing another driver coming in for whatever reason, whether they don't like them, whether they know that there will be competition for them, because they want to be the only driver of that nationality in that team, whatever. It's happened before.
Yeah.
I could see it happening. I could see Max saying, "I don't want that." I have a
You
good
think so?
teammate. I could see him saying that.
For Carlos? I could see
Yeah,
it for
for
other people.
Carlos. I think for
Oh.
Carlos, and to say it I mean, we got to think about in the context of the timeline. When they were looking at Carlos, he at that time he was probably the only person to have beaten Max in the race, because Max had won 5 straight, and Carlos was the first winner. His first win was in Australia. And everybody was very impressed. He was driving great. I could see him being a threat in a Red Bull to Max. Not necessarily that he would beat him, but I could see him causing a rift and just making it a, a less harmonious environment in Red Bull at a time where it already wasn't a very harmonious environment in Red Bull.
He needed, I mean, he was also, like, to your point, he was also not really listening to team orders.
No.
So, but again, I think him not listening to team orders didn't have anything to do with just being a rebellious whatever. He had something to prove. He needed to show what he needed to show so he could get a seat. Because we have seen him be a team player in multiple teams. But I can't see Max doing it. I can't see him saying no for Carlos. I
mean,
know
Eddie
I see
Jordan
what you mean,
has said a lot of crazy shit, but I could see this happening.
I don't know if I see it for Carlos. I can see him vetoing plenty of other people. I can actually even see him vetoing Liam.
Do you think it could be Jos Verstappen vetoing Carlos on behalf, quote unquote, of Max?
That I can see. That I can 1000% see. And that
just
my
saying
theory
this,
on that.
Max doesn't want this. Max has no idea saying that, but Max doesn't want this.
My theory on that is that Carlos Sainz Sr. and Jos Verstappen race together in rally, and Sainz Sr. is significantly better.
Oh,
than,
so it's
generational
hate.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say he's the more successful motor racing driver of the two older. The two older.
Well, I mean, how many people knew that Jos Verstappen was a F1 driver if you didn't know who Max Verstappen was?
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't. He just looks like an angry dad.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah.
Well, there was that. I just wanted to get that over with because I thought that was pretty interesting.
There's one more piece of Red Bull, and then we
yes, you have one. Yes, it's very small. Oh no, it's actually pretty big.
Well, it's 300,000 big, and counting,
which translates to a lot of dollars.
Yeah. So since the announcement of Checo signing with, being fired, I guess,
Being fired,
let
yes.
go, from
Signing
Red
with
Bull,
his home address.
pretty much, um, being let go from Red Bull, and I think the day it happened, they lost on Instagram alone. So we don't know
Yeah,
every other,
X and all that stuff,
whatever.
Facebook and
Instagram alone, they lost 250,000 followers.
yeah.
The following day, that continued to increase, and it still actually continues to increase. And then even with the Lawson hiring and announcements, they still continue to lose followers on
I'm sure they
Instagram.
lost a lot of Japanese supporters.
Yeah, they've lost a lot. Honda doing their post is probably going to make them lose
Of
more
course.
as well. On the other
And we
hand, Ferrari has done really well, which is weird because we knew Lewis was going there.
But I think it was as soon as I think it was as soon as Lewis had his final farewell
Yeah,
in Silverstone,
yeah,
where that spike really came.
yes. And I don't know if you saw this, but there was a so Ferrari's gone up 200 and probably 50,000 at this point in followers, since the end of the season or in the last week since Lewis's farewell. But I don't know if you saw, Lewis did a walk through, I think it was in Abu Dhabi, and he went over to the Ferrari
Yeah.
garage. And the picture of him walking into the Ferrari garage with his Petronas shirt on, I was
Yeah.
like, this is just not
Oh
many
yeah.
people are allowed to do that.
No.
And it was kind of iconic.
Yeah.
Like, gotta say. But yeah, I mean, I think that number for Red Bull is going to continue to go down.
And it's going to be
Unfortunately.
significant. I mean, we
Yeah.
know that Checo brings a lot of sponsorship and a lot of
Yeah.
sponsorship dollars, which have already left. But now with their remaining sponsors or their incoming sponsors, with
Yeah.
a smaller visibility among platforms,
Yeah.
which I mean, they still have a fair amount,
They're
but
so multi-million,
yeah,
multi-million followers,
but they're going to have to answer to sponsors. You know,
Mhm.
why are we putting, like, if we're not as visible as possible, why are we paying all this money to you? You know,
Right.
is there going to be contract restructurings? There's going to be all that, whatever.
Right.
It's significant. So it may or may not. We may not. We may not even have it see the light of day,
Yeah.
but it is significant to the team.
Yeah. And I mean, we also see sponsorship is an important thing.
Sure.
Yuki's been in, going back to Yuki. Yuki's been in the industry for 5-6, in Formula One for 6 years, I think it is now. He's
Five
built
is
his
no RB5. Christian made sure he
okay,
said
yeah,
you can't have a
that's
bridesmaid
right.
for 5
That's right.
years.
5 years.
This could be going to 6.
So he's built up sponsorship names, which would bring in money,
Yep.
which you need.
Especially in a
So
smaller team that's got a budget cap.
yeah.
It's
So
part of the budget cap.
it's yeah. I don't know. Anyways, we're done with Red Bull.
Yeah, we're done. It's over. Did you want to speak about your Ferrari boys again?
I did.
You
Any
okay.
chance to speak about them?
Of course.
We did see, which was we saw some farewells. We saw the Lewis farewell at Brackley, with Mercedes and the farewell, the engines. It was like they had everybody and their mothers there, which was a really nice send off, deserved.
Yeah.
He's done a lot for that team and brought in a lot of money. So I think it was very well deserved. But this week we saw Ferrari brought in Carlos Sainz Senior and Junior to do, I think it was more for Senior, but to do a test drive basically in the Formula One in his son's car.
Yes, the 2023 car was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And so he got to test drive the car around the track. And then there was, I mean, Charles went, they had the whole camera crew, they had the drones up.
Yeah.
It was a really nice send off, I thought, which was kind of like, you guys feel really bad. Like that you're inviting your driver's dad to come do testing in your old, or not even testing, just drive around in the car.
Just drive around, yeah, go for a joyride, basically.
And then they had them both get into the car and drive. And at the end, Senior kind of came out and said, thank you. Like, you've made a
A grandfather.
grandfather very happy. Like, there's no point in his life that he'd probably get to drive a Ferrari Formula One car.
Yeah, no.
So it was nice of them to do that and a nice send off. And then we're not sure who bought the car, but Carlos Sainz has ended up with a
4 million.
amazing, 4 million pound car or euro.
Oh, you think it's euros?
Yeah, Ferrari from them, which has been totally pimped my ride for anybody that's a
Customized, yeah.
millennial.
It says Carlos Sainz. You can't miss it now.
Yeah.
Everybody will know who they're going to steal from.
Yeah, smooth operator. It's got
Yeah.
his number all over it. So there's been 2 reports that he bought it as a going away gift, and then there's been reports that it was a gift from Ferrari to him. Either way, nice send off.
Yeah,
I think he had a nice send off from Ferrari. But again, like, they seem like they feel really bad about their decision. And
they're posting about it to show, like, hey,
like, look, what
we're
we
not
did.
a bunch of assholes. We
Yeah.
are, but we feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that was the Ferrari news.
That was the Ferrari.
Yeah.
That was the Ferrari news. I only had
Yeah.
a couple other things. One, there are some rule changes coming into effect in 2025.
Yeah.
More so rule changes as a result of the 2024 season. The first one is that when the official radar predicts any temperatures over 30.5 degrees Celsius, or the race director prior to an event declares it a heat hazard, the teams are required to equip their drivers with cooling systems. Now, we did see Charles testing it out. There is a company, the name's escaping me right now. It's a Moto Cooling or something like that. Basically, they're worn cooling suits, so they have like a little circulation thing. I guess they stay cool somehow. I don't know what the technology is. They're used in other racing series. They're coming to Formula One now. At least they've been tested. They're going to start using that next year. So anytime that comes in, they're allowed to do that. And the weight limits for the drivers and will be raised. Drivers or the package in the vehicle, whatever it is going to be raised 5 kilograms to compensate for that cooling system. So that's the rule change there for the first one. The second one kind of goes, well, there's 2 and 3, but they kind of go together. Basically, it's eliminating McLaren's mini DRS system. So they deemed it not illegal this year because there was no regulation for it, even though they asked them to stop doing it, which they did. But next year it is actually illegal. So it will be in breach of the regulations. So no parts of it can be changed or to move and on the wings. And then they just reduce the gap minimums now. So from 10 to 15 millimeters in the back gap when it's closed to 9.4 to 13 millimeters. So now they have to close a little bit more. So now we have less airflow. So that it's going to be a lot more of a closed system.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's funny that it was like not illegal, but like don't use it.
Please
but
don't.
Now illegal. Like, because there's been stuff that's happened that like,
well, they did it twice last year, right? It's the same thing with the Red Bull with the bib change, the bib height change, right? So it's they looked at it and said, no, they haven't done anything. It's not an illegal system. It's just an innovation. But maybe we don't do it.
Just don't use it.
So
yeah.
So that's that. It was just something real quick for next year, just something to keep an eye on. It'll be interesting to see when that cooling system comes into effect when we get to some of the hotter races. I'm sure all the cameras will be focused on what the drivers have underneath their coveralls, not just by Sabrina watching it.
Just there with my like binoculars.
Yeah, binoculars to the TV, really. Looks all pixelated. The other one, really short. We know that a lot of the drivers have made comments on the season length this year. Especially because we went to 24 races. There were talks about maybe, or other people saying they could see it going to 25 or 26 races. Some of the drivers just saying, no, it's too long. We've never had it this long. It's not a lot of time for rest and recovery and recuperation. Lando Norris came out, I guess, asked in an interview shortly after the Abu Dhabi GP or in the couple days afterwards. And he says any driver who labels 24 race F1 calendar tough is lying. So that was a little bit interesting. I mean, I kind of agree with him. I mean, it is a lot on your body. I'm not going to deny it.
Right.
The frequency with which they put on and lose weight is not unlike a fighter, but a fighter is doing that once every 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever. They're doing it weekly, bi-weekly, in that time frame ish.
Yeah.
Right. But they're losing 5 to 6 kilos a race, depending on the weight, or sorry, on the heat of the race, the how many G's they're being subjected to. Is it a fast track? Is it a slower track? Whatever.
Yeah, Monaco, they're gaining weight.
They're gaining weight. Yeah. They're actually grabbing some muscles and frites on the way around the corner.
Stopping.
This all came. The cooling system and this kind of came about, especially when you get races like Qatar and Abu Dhabi, and you see them just being really taxed as they get through this race. I kind of agree with Lando, though.
I mean, yeah, we do have a lot of breaks. Are they warranted? Yeah, but I mean, there is still space for at least one more race. 24 races.
I don't even see it so much. Sorry. I don't even see it so much as the breaks. I see it more so these drivers now have every advantage of metrics, data, personal trainers, nutritionists, aftercare after the races, physiotherapists. Their bodies are taken care of. It's not like when they were racing in the 80s and the 70s, and they're literally getting beat up. They're going home with bruises.
Yeah.
It is physical. They go through these G's. This is why they train their necks so hard, so they stop the effects of a concussion every single race.
Yeah.
Or hopefully. I just think they're so well taken care of now that it's not. I think that their biggest challenge is the mental part of it, going race to race.
I know a lot of them have come out and said it's not so hard during the season. It's the end of the season now until season starts, because now is when they don't have to worry necessarily about being on weight. They don't want to gain 20 pounds or anything like that right now, but because then they have to lose that, and everything gets heavy and it's harder to run and all that. Us fitness freaks here.
100%.
But
the shape of my life.
Yeah, they are really. They said that that's the hardest time. Once they're in shape, they're still working out all week. They're still, they're eating, but they're still having to keep in shape when they're going to work in race in Singapore and Qatar. They're training in saunas, so their bodies are used to this. So stopping is actually the part that's hard for them, and I've heard a few of them actually say that's the difficult part, is the relaxing.
But if that's your difficult part, okay, you're done the season. They were done 2 weeks ago. They've got 85 days or whatever it is, or 80 days now until season starts. So you've got 3 weeks, Christmas, New Year's. Hire your personal trainer. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them already have that.
They live
but
with
tell
them.
him, but tell him, okay, January 7th. Let's get at it. Let's get back into shape here.
Yeah.
We got 3 months until reveal, maybe 3.5 to 4 until season starts.
Yeah.
Start earlier. Otherwise, don't tell me it's hard when you've got 4 months off to do nothing and just stuff your face.
Travel the world.
Yeah.
But no, I think I would agree with him. I think there is room for at least one more. Make it 25 races. Does it need to be 26? No.
I think 24 is the right number. 25 could be good. I think you still make it work at 25, depending on where you're going to go. If they add this race in Africa, that's still another. It's. I mean, if you put it right after the European GP, Although it's in the middle of the summer. um, um, I don't like, travel and all that. It wouldn't be as difficult unless you put it just before Qatar, but then you
Yeah.
lose Vegas. Either way, we're not here for logistics.
Yeah.
Either way,
They'll figure it out.
they could have put it before Vegas anyways, because
Yeah.
then they had 3 weeks.
Yeah. And I mean, we have which still no confirmation about Madrid if it's replacing Barcelona or joining as another
Well,
Spanish
last
race.
last
So
we heard was they were having troubles even getting sponsorships.
right.
So
So
who knows if it's even going to happen?
yeah, I think 24 is good. Could there be 25? Yes.
Yeah.
Anything over that, I'd probably say okay, it's not necessarily
No, when you're
it.
racing half the year, that is a lot on you.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, they get paid for it, and they do
They
it,
do.
and
They
they
do.
stay in shape. So, and
They-
they're all underweight, or except for I guess it wasn't George's fault; it was the car. But
Well, I think when you get into like the taller races, so we saw I did see something with Alex Albon. We're saying he's at 160 pounds for a guy who's pretty close to 6 feet.
Mhm.
That's light, and he says
Yeah.
he's at his limit. He cannot go over 160.
Yeah,
That's tough. That's
Yeah.
when you get to the taller racers. That's a dangerous
which
game.
there's
Quite a bit.
a handful of them that are like over 5'11".
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody else is like just chowing down on McDonald's, but Yuki's like having the time of his life.
Yeah, but you can
at
get sushi at
5'3".
McDonald's in Japan,
This is
so
true.
he's fine.
This is true. Very
So
true.
that's basically all we had for news.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things we wanted to go through. I did want to go through. So every year they ask every team boss
Yes.
who they would vote for the top 10 drivers. They tally up all those votes and they'll take the average or whatever, and they'll order them 1 through 10 based on all team principles. So you haven't seen this list.
No, I have
So
not.
we'll go through this list and we'll see if we want to change anything based on how obviously moronic team principles are. If they're working in the most expensive sport in the world,
Okay.
they must be idiots.
Yeah.
I don't think that. Do not bar me from the paddock.
You're
So
already
number
barred.
1, yeah, obviously. Number 1 is, and they have a point system, is Max Verstappen. Max
As
Verstappen
number one
got
driver.
number 1 driver. He got 2. I guess this works on a 25-point system because he is the only person in the history of them doing this list that got top marks from all 10 team principles, 250 points. Last year he was also in first, but this year he was the first year he got everything.
So that means
It was a
all these
consensus.
principals that talk shit about him and talk shit about his driving during the season actually really enjoy him
Oh,
as a
you only
driver.
talk shit about the great
This is true.
athletes.
This is
I mean,
true.
I absolutely hate for any hockey fans, Brad Marchand from Boston. But if he was on my team, I would love him.
But we're also
but otherwise, if he's on Boston, he could die.
Oh my God. Jesus.
So
Number 2.
I think it's fair to say that we would both agree that Verstappen,
That's
especially for
where
2024, was in number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, you got to guess, venture a guess.
I'm going to say this year, Lando.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
with 178 points. So
Yeah.
he went up 1 from 2023.
Okay.
Number 3, who would you put at number 3? We'll go this way with this game.
I'm actually going to say Carlos.
Ooh, you are wrong. Well, you're not necessarily wrong. That's your opinion. Because not everybody put Leclerc at 3, obviously.
Okay.
But Leclerc was at 3 with 121 points, up again 1 place from apparently it was 4th last year.
I was going to say
I guess
Leclerc,
it's
but
the
then I
other
was like, Carlos had a really good showing this year. So that's
He
why I was
did
like,
have a very good shot.
that's why I was like, it's got to be him. But
Based on Leclerc was more so based on his consistency throughout the year.
Okay.
And his great drive at the end to go from 19th to 3rd.
Fair.
Number 4,
George.
no,
Damn it.
it was Oscar Piastri with 113
Oh,
points,
yeah.
up 3 points from last year. So he was in 7th last year, moved up to
Okay.
moved up to 4th.
Yeah, that makes sense.
5.
Now it's George?
Nope.
Carlos.
It is Carlos
Yeah.
with 110. So Piastri just edged him out
Yeah.
with 3 points. He was up 1 from last year. The funny part is that, and I'll just spoil this a little bit. Everybody's usually, most of them are up, most of them, and usually only up like 1, unless you had a great season like Piastri, because Checo's not on this list. So everybody would have like shifted up. But
Gotcha. Okay.
so you had Sainz number 6.
Gotta be George.
You got to get that.
No,
Okay.
gotta be George.
It is George Russell,
Yeah.
86 points, up 3 from last year. So I would assume that's because, I mean, he didn't have a great beginning, but he had a really good ending to the season.
Yeah.
Number 7.
Lewis.
You're right. Down
Yeah.
2 from last year with 54 points.
Lewis.
Down. This is one I have a little bit of a problem with. So, and I don't know if it's just me being stupid because I don't remember, but if I remember correctly, he didn't have a great season obviously he didn't have a great season this year. He had a better season this year. He had race wins this year. He had better drives this year. He also had, I mean, he had his bouts of pouting this year, but it wasn't, I don't remember it to be as bad as it was last year. So to be down 2, unless it's just because everybody else was so much better.
I think it's because other people were, and
Yeah,
his
maybe.
like in competition with George. George didn't win as many, but
And Hamilton also
drove better.
But Hamilton also finished higher because he was let through.
Right. Yeah. But don't forget, George had that win that was taken away from him that went to Lewis.
I don't necessarily disagree with the list before Hamilton. It just feels like he should be higher. Maybe it's the fact that I know that he's down 2 from last year.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you start to see the GOAT dropping down, not to third, second, when the drop is that far down, it stings a little bit. So, but I mean, that means that there's 6 drivers on track right now that are not, they don't have the same stats as him, but currently they are driving better than someone that has 7 championships. So it just depends.
So our last 3, I was wrong. Checo wasn't on this last year. The reason why everybody's moved up is for another reason. We'll get into it. But number 8, I'll give you a hint. Number 8 is a new entry. That wasn't on this last year. He was not on this last year.
Oh, he wasn't on it last year. I didn't even know the list last year. So. Alonso?
No. It is Hulk. Hulk got 39.
Oh, yeah.
39 votes. The team principals obviously thought he was one of the better ones on the grid. Obviously, number 8. Once you get out of the top 3 teams, and then Verstappen.
Yeah. Okay.
Number 9.
I'm gonna fail with the last 3 here.
There's only 2 left.
Or 2.
You said him already.
I don't remember who. Alonso.
Thank you. Okay,
I was like,
it was just the last one. So he had 27, down 7. So he was in second last year. Dropped 7 points.
Wow. Well, I mean, he had a really good start.
He had a really good start to the year, and the car upgrades screwed him.
Yeah.
But he just hasn't been there this year.
No.
And whether it's him or the car, I would assume it's more so his car.
Yeah.
We didn't even really say his name a lot this year.
Number 10 or
no,
Alonso.
Alonso.
Like,
number 10, we did say his name a lot. Well, kind of a lot, but we also said his name a lot at the end of the year. New entry as well.
I'm between Albon or Gasly.
Pick one. Pick the right one, because you pick the right one between those two, please.
Albon. Gasly.
Yes, we didn't say much good about Albon this year.
This is Gasly. Okay.
Gasly. Obviously, for he had multiple podium finishes.
He had at least
He had
one.
one. He had the one in Brazil. I think maybe it was just that one in Brazil. Either way, consistently in points
Yeah.
once we got through the end of the season. I mean, for having such a shit box of a car at the beginning
Yeah.
of the season to have zero damages, especially when your teammate crashes into you in Monaco, to not cost your team anything and to give them points that helps them make up $15 million. Of course, he's in that. He's in
Yeah.
that number 10. So that's it. That's our top 10.
Okay.
I would fairly agree with them. I don't think I would
Yeah.
change anything of that. I
No.
mean, I guess they can keep their jobs, those 10
Yeah.
principal.
Yeah. I mean, they
They
seem to
kind of
know
know
what
stuff.
they know
Yeah.
what they're doing, what they're
Yeah.
talking about.
It's almost like they watched every race.
Yeah. Almost. Almost. Yeah.
So yeah, that's our top 10 drivers. I just thought it was interesting when I saw it today.
Yeah.
So moving on, we got two things we want to wrap up here before we finish off for the year.
Yes.
Our top 3 moments of the year. Now, to me, it could be moments on track, off track, whatever.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay.
I have my list. Am I just gonna go through all 3 of mine? I mean, mine are pretty quickly.
Sure.
Pretty quick. Okay. So my
Let's see if I have to change any of mine on the fly.
yeah. My number 1 is Charles winning Monaco.
Okay.
Self-explanatory. I think this was like the perfect year for him to win it. Just like all the times not doing it, and then it was just worked out well for him.
Yeah.
Lewis winning Silverstone.
Okay.
I think this was a nice send-off for him to do it in the Mercedes. I mean, he may go and win Silverstone in the Ferrari. It wouldn't be on my top 10 or top 3 for that. I think it was the perfect ending for him to win a race again, and for him was good enough, but to win Silverstone, I think was just, I mean, icing on the cake. And then third is, other than Checo, I just thought it was really cool to see from the top 4 teams, both drivers, again, other than Checo, both drivers won for their teams and multiple times.
Yeah.
So, and I wrote out the numbers really quickly. So if everybody wanted a reminder, Max won 9. For Ferrari, Charles won 3, Carlos won 2. For Mercedes, Lewis won 3, George won 2. And then for McLaren, Lando won 4 and Oscar won 2. So it was just, that just shows it's not just, well, maybe other than McLaren, just shows it's not necessarily just the team, it's the drivers as well. Like they know what they're doing. Other than Lando's win in Abu Dhabi, which I thought was a good win for him.
Yeah.
Other than the other ones were kind of questionable. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of cool to see all top 4 teams have both drivers -1 win multiple times.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think it was all great, and they're none of the ones that I picked.
Perfect.
That's great. So my top 3 is going to be, the first one is Carlos coming back from an appendectomy in Australia and winning
Yes.
Australia.
Yeah.
You know, he was out. We had Behrman in for, was it Bahrain? Something like that.
Yeah.
Not
It was a night race.
Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He came in. He had a great drive as a rookie. All the questions were, how fast can Carlos get back? How many races is going to be out? He comes back limping into the paddock the next week, or is it 2 weeks between them? I can't remember.
It was 2 weeks, it was the next race.
Yeah, the next race.
Yeah.
And he comes out and he wins. Obviously, still in pain after the race.
He's like holding up the trophy, like
yeah. And then that started the whole, where's he going? Like he's got all the credit in the world. Obviously, it was a big disappointment afterwards.
Yeah.
A big letdown because we didn't hear anything for the longest time.
Yeah.
But that was one of my top 3 moments. My second moment is going to be, I'm going to put them together. I'm not going to do an honorable mention one, but I'm going to put them together. Mainly Max winning Brazil. It was one of the greatest drives I have seen out of since I've been watching it, or even any
Mhm.
of the things that I've been watching when I go back and watch old races or anything.
Mhm.
It was phenomenal. It was a masterclass. Say if he got lucky or not by the safety car or whatever. Either way, it just goes to show what strategy does in a race, how good somebody can be, how quick somebody can be. Same thing we talked about Senna, but how much he knows how to drive in the rain, how he
Yeah.
can find those lines, how he can know the braking points, and how far he can push the car. It was really great. But also together with that, just the Brazil GP in general, both Alpines on the podium,
Yeah.
doing a great job there. And it was just a race where you were glued to that TV set. You were watching it. You were on the edge of your seat. Who's doing what? Where is everybody in the back? Who's coming out of the pits?
Yeah.
How is this race changing minute to minute, lap by lap, turn by turn?
Yeah.
Um, the Brazil GP was one of my favorite moments of this year.
Yeah.
And my third favorite moment of the year is going to be Fred Vasseur. Fred Vasseur all year long. I'm
Just
giving
in
it to him.
general,
Yeah, just Fred.
just as a
Just
person.
just Fred. In a season that had drama, it had gossip, it had ridicule, it had decisions that made you angry.
Yeah.
Fred was there with a quick comment, a good
Mhm.
laugh, always a smile on his face,
Yeah.
something funny he was doing or saying or whatever, and he was just the comedic relief. All while putting his team up in a second and almost winning that championship. I think Fred Vasseur was the shining light of
Yeah.
this season.
Well, and it like he sometimes you're like, does this guy like do anything other than like roast people or like
He's
ruin team
Yeah,
photos? But like he's doing his job.
he's very subtle. Like he
Yeah.
just looks like the Joker, the class
Yeah.
clown or whatever, and then he's got it all together. He's doing it
Gets it.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that to me is Fred this year is one of my top moments.
Yeah. The
The whole
whole
yeah,
year.
all
Just him
moments,
as
all
yeah.
moments. Listen, if you can pick any driver from F2 will take a seat in our predictions, I could pick Fred Vasseur all
This
year
is
long.
true. This is true. I will give it to you. I'll
Thank you.
give it
Like
to
I'm
you.
taking it
Yeah.
regardless.
Right?
So that's our top three moments. Just some of the things that we just really loved this year.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they were different.
Yeah.
They're all. I think we both agree with all of them.
All
So that's our
6 of
top
them.
six moments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but we want to end off. We want to end off. I know we started this podcast basically on a game. We want to end it off the season on a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
So if anybody's ever seen, you see them on like Jimmy Fallon, you see them
Mhm.
on everywhere you go,
Yeah.
yearbooks, whatever. We want to do a little bit of a F1 Christmas inspired superlatives. So superlatives
Superlatives.
are like most likely to whatever.
Yeah.
Something you want, or something you think somebody's most likely to do something or say something or whatever.
Did you get in high school, in your yearbook, were you rated anything?
I don't think I was rated anything. They might have
Or
had it. I
like
didn't. I didn't pay attention much. I didn't
oh,
care. I don't even
I
know where
was.
I don't even know where my yearbooks are. They're
Yearbook is?
thrown out. Yeah.
I was, and it wasn't good. But anyways.
Oh, maybe we'll get into that
Yeah. Next
another time.
next year. Yeah.
We'll get into a pay for episode. Do you want to
Yeah.
find out?
Yeah. Patreon. But okay, so I think we just go back
Are
and
we gonna
forth
are we gonna
and
settle up? Because
guess.
you have six, I have six, but
Yeah.
you want to do like just settle on 4 or 5. We'll just pick some of the best ones, and we'll
Okay.
just okay. So we'll say it. You can guess who you think that person should be,
Yeah.
and we can talk about who we had in mind for that one.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna go with my first one. I think you're gonna get this. Most likely to return the gift that you got them.
Oh, you took one of mine.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So since I already had that, I had returned all their gifts, but I'm gonna go with Piastri.
Oh no, I had Lewis.
We had Lewis.
Yeah,
I could see that one. I
yeah.
could see it. Yeah,
Lewis
he's
is
kind of like,
like,
oh, this is a great
thanks.
sweater that I will
Yeah.
never wear.
Yeah, he's like, I
Also,
have designer sweaters. Like,
yeah,
why are
yeah.
you giving me this? Yeah. So I had Lewis.
Okay. I have most likely to trade for their perfect Secret Santa.
That's good. So they're perfect Secret Santa. So
Yeah, like they did Secret Santa. They got a name like, oh, but I really want to get this person because I know exactly what I'd get them.
Lando.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
I had Yuki because he's definitely gonna try and get a gift for Pierre Gasly.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's funny. What did I have? I had most likely to forget to buy a gift and then ask you to add their name to your card.
Oh, that's a good one.
You're like, oh shit, I
To
forgot a gift.
forget to, but see that I probably would have said Lando. Oh, but I'm not obviously. Forget to get buy their gift and add to them. Going to go. Oh, you. I'm not gonna say Piastri, even though I think that's what might be where you're going with this. I'm gonna say Max.
I actually had Lando.
Dang.
I had
You
Lando.
used two for the same one?
No,
Didn't you do?
I was guessing for yours.
Oh, you were guessing for mine. That's right.
Yeah.
Damn it! I got all confused there. I should have gone with my gut.
Yeah,
Shit.
I had Lando. I was like, he would totally show up and be like, oh my God.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like-
Okay. So
Yeah.
I got that wrong, but initial thoughts I was right. Okay. So I'm gonna go with most likely to brag about their gifts to others in the group chat.
Ocon.
That was quick.
Yeah.
That was quick.
And
not who
wrong.
I had.
Yeah.
Not who I had. I had Lawson because he is definitely putting in there. Guys, look what I
yes.
got. Look what I got.
Yeah.
Totally oblivious that Yuki's like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree with that one. Yeah. But I answered Ocon really quickly. Apologies.
That's okay.
Um,
It wouldn't necessarily be wrong.
Yeah. Most likely to spike the drinks at Christmas
Oh, I had
dinner.
that one too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my first one.
Okay.
I spiked the eggnog. That one I have Max, so I'm gonna go with that one.
Oh, that's a good one, but I had Alonso.
Oh, that's a
Just
good
that,
one.
like,
They're both on that
devious-
same vibe.
yeah.
Yeah. Like this party's shit. Let's just,
Loosen everybody
show
up.
these young guys how to party.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one or two. No, sorry, we did. That's our third.
Yeah.
This is our third. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm good. So most likely to gift their own product or free merch.
George.
Yes.
Gotta be George. It's gotta be George.
I thought you might have gone Lewis on that one, but
No,
yeah, it was
George.
100% George.
Absolutely George.
That's the first thing that came to mind.
He started to do it because he's like
Yeah.
Tommy Hilfiger, and they've been like
Yeah, yeah.
Tommy Hilfiger by George.
Little George Russell bobblehead.
Yeah,
and just...
absolutely. Everybody except Max gets one.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
That's funny. Okay, this is two people.
It's two people. Okay.
So most likely to get wasted, like blackout, at the Christmas party.
That's Max.
Oh, okay, and
We've seen so many pictures of Max hammered
I
and
know.
doing interviews with drink. I would say Max, and I'm gonna go with Leclerc because he doesn't look like he can handle his liquor.
Okay, those are good ones, and we've seen funny videos of both of them. But I didn't go with those two. I went
Either
with,
of them?
No, I went with Bottas and K-Mag.
Oh yes.
Like just
Yes.
running amok, wasted.
Yeah.
Just
They're both from the north,
yeah,
and they can handle their liquor.
Yeah.
And we know how those Australians like to drink. So
yeah.
damn. That's
Have you
good.
seen?
But they would be so much fun to party with.
right. Have you seen Office Christmas Party?
Yes.
I picture those two as
Okay,
the
yeah.
brother, like
Yeah,
just
Yeah. That's
messing
good.
with everything.
Okay, I like that one. I got nothing.
No.
So my last one is going to be most likely to ruin the magic of Christmas. It could be anyone in the paddock. I'm gonna give you that.
To ruin the magic, specifically the magic of Christmas.
Yeah, like the magic of Christmas. Like even tell a child. Like just take something away from
Lawrence
them.
Stroll.
Oh no, see? I could see him being like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm not it's not him. I'm just gonna do it because he did it, Christian Horner.
Oh. Wah, wah. That's sad. But yeah, I could see
Lawrence
Lawrence
was
Stroll.
the way too obvious answer. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I can't. This Santa Claus looking man is just
Yeah.
he's just the
I
Grinch
felt
in
like
disguise.
the the spirit of Christmas was like a hint. So I totally missed that. Okay. So is this my last one?
You got your last one? I don't have any more because we've had a
Oh.
couple of the same ones.
Oh, okay. So, most likely to spend the least on a Christmas gift. Like
Ooh,
they're
that one.
just
Is this driver?
it's a driver.
Just
They're
get a
just
okay.
running out to get something last minute from Dollarama.
Dollarama in Monaco.
Yeah. Good guess. Good location.
Oh, good guess. Well, that narrows it down to 18. Okay. Oh, I don't want to take up too much time and have it just quiet here. I'm just going through the roster. I'm gonna go with Lance Stroll.
Oh no, Oscar.
Oscar.
I just feel like Oscar just doesn't care. He's like, yeah, sure. Here's a.
I feel like his
animal.
mother would beat him. I feel like his mother would tell him, like, get
Oh
this
yeah,
buddy,
Nicole Piastri. Yeah,
Nicole, yeah,
she'd be
your
all-
best
all
friend,
for it.
Nicole.
Yeah, just casually.
So that's
yeah.
what we had. You're all done because
I do have one more, but
you do have one more. Oh, let's go for it. Why not?
okay. So this one's kind of obvious. Most likely to say something that causes an argument at Christmas dinner.
I'll say that would have been Ocon for me.
Oh,
And
It's
most likely to say something that causes an argument.
come on, it's obvious.
Is it? Is it?
It's a driver.
Clearly not obvious to me. No, you
Recent?
said Lewis already. Recent? Lawson?
No. George.
Oh, we've said it so many times. I can't remember if I actually said it.
No. Yeah. I just feel like
Yes,
he would
yes.
say something and then everybody's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. After he gives his own product away. He's
Yeah.
gonna cause shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there are superlatives. If you guys have any funny ones,
Or if you think we got any of these wrong and you know a better answer than us, let us
Yeah.
know.
I mean, hey, it's the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
That Christian Horner did not steal from us.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, that's it. That's us.
That's it. That's 2024. Yeah.
We are, I think we said it before, but we are going to take a little bit of a break. We will be back with episodes in the new year, probably mid-January.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we're looking at about 3-4 weeks.
yeah. But we'll still be having content on our socials, which you can always find us on at Fresh Set Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and X. So go check it out, like, follow, subscribe, all that on those accounts. But yeah, podcast wise or episodes, we will be back in the new year. And we'll keep you updated on our socials about all that.
We're going to take our Sundays back for a little bit and just enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. And we just want to thank you guys for the last year.
For being here with us.
Yeah.
Putting up with our shit.
Yeah.
For
Technical
listening to me rant.
difficulties.
Yeah, technical difficulties at the beginning. There were a lot.
There were a lot.
There were.
Maybe we'll have
Kinda
a
missed
blooper episode.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look through
We'll
all
see
those.
if we
and try
could find
put things-
some
see what I can
bloopers.
find. Yeah.
Yeah, some burps and
Oh, they might be in there. They should be in there.
yeah.
I don't know. You seem to time them pretty. I mean, I'm going to spoil it and say you. Sometime when I was resetting the camera or something.
Yeah. But yeah, so as always though, I already mentioned the socials, but you can find us on YouTube, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify at Fresh Set Podcast. Re-listen to all the episodes.
Yeah, why
catch
not?
up for the year. Pick your favorite episode. Let us know what your favorite episode was. And yeah, we will see you guys in the new year.
2025. Grab a fresh set.
Bye.